Fellas, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift? Maybe you caught someone staring a little too long. Maybe people listen when you speak, even if you're not the loudest voice in the room. Maybe you've never thought about it, but there's something different about you. And here's the kicker. You might not even realize how attractive you are. See, attractiveness isn't just about looks. It's not about having the perfect jawline or a six-pack. It's about presence. It's about energy. It's about the way you carry yourself, the way people feel around you. And the most attractive men, they don't chase attention, they attract it. But how do you know if you have that kind of power? How do you know if you're one of those men who naturally draws people in? Stay locked in, because I'm about to break down 7 signs that prove you're a highly attractive man. And let me tell you, by the time we're done, you'll either realize the power you've been sitting on, or you'll know exactly what you need to work on. A highly attractive man doesn't just exist. He commands space. When you walk into a room, people feel it. And no, I'm not talking about being arrogant or trying to be the loudest guy in the room. It's the way you carry yourself. You walk with purpose. Your shoulders are back. You move like you belong, like you have nothing to prove. And people notice. Women notice. They might not even understand why, but they can feel it. That's what makes you different. Look, women don't always tell you directly that they're attracted to you, but they show it. Ever notice how a woman might linger just a little longer when she talks to you? Or how she randomly shows up in places you're at? Maybe she finds little excuses to touch your arm and laugh a little harder at your jokes. That's not an accident. That's not luck. That's attraction. Women are drawn to energy, confidence, and presence. And if you see this happening often, trust me, you're more attractive than you think. A highly attractive man, he's not out here begging for attention. He doesn't chase people down trying to prove his worth. He moves through life focused on his goals, his purpose, his peace. And the crazy part, that's what makes people chase him. Women respect a man who's not desperate for their validation. Other men respect a guy who stands firm in who he is. The moment you stop chasing approval is the moment you start attracting everything you once ran after. Some men talk too much. They overshare trying to impress. But the most attractive men, they let people wonder. You don't have to tell your whole life story to every person you meet. You don't reveal everything at once. You let people come to you. And that mystery, that makes you irresistible. People want to figure you out. They want to know more. And when you let them wonder, you become unforgettable. A highly attractive man doesn't just get attention from women, he gets respect from men. Some men will admire you, some will want to learn from you, and some, they'll feel uncomfortable around you. Why? Because when they see you, they see something they don't have. And that can make them insecure. But let me tell you something, that's not your problem. A strong man doesn't shrink himself to make weak men comfortable. Stand firm in who you are. Most people can't handle silence. They feel the need to fill it with small talk, nervous laughter, anything to avoid the quiet. But you don't mind silence. You don't need to be the loudest guy in the room to feel important. You're comfortable just being. And that kind of confidence, that's rare. That's attractive. Women notice when a man can just sit back, observe, and move with calm, controlled energy. It shows security. It shows power. The most attractive men don't beg, they don't settle, they don't waste time chasing things that don't serve them. You bring to the table. You don't tolerate disrespect. You don't let people walk all over you. And because you value yourself, other people value you more. Women can sense a man who knows his worth, and that is the most powerful attraction there is. Fellas, let me leave you with this. Being attractive isn't about what you were born with. It's about how you carry yourself, how you think, and how you live. If you recognize these signs in yourself, congratulations, you've got that rare energy most men wish they had. And if you don't, well, now you know exactly what to start working on. Because every man has the potential to be highly attractive, but only a few actually step into it. The question is, are you ready to be one of them? When you walk into a room, what happens? Do people turn their heads, even just for a moment? Do they shift their energy, sensing something different in the air? If you have a powerful presence, you don't have to demand attention. It naturally finds you. See, presence isn't about being the loudest. It's not about puffing up your chest, acting tough, or forcing people to look your way. It's deeper than that. It's a combination of confidence, posture, self-awareness, and the way you move through the world. Most men don't understand this because they think attraction is only about looks, but I'll tell you this, you can be the best dressed man in the room, but if you lack presence, people will forget you in seconds. On the flip side, a man with true presence, he doesn't need flashy outfits or expensive cologne. His energy alone makes people take notice. A man with unshakable presence carries himself differently. He walks with purpose, his shoulders are back, his chin is up, and his steps are firm, like he knows exactly where he's going, even if no one else does. There's no hesitation in his movement, no fidgeting, no nervous glances. He moves as if he belongs, not because someone told him so, but because he believes it himself. That belief is magnetic. It draws people in. It makes them wonder, who is this guy? What does he know that I don't? Women sense it immediately. They can tell when a man is truly confident versus when he's pretending. A man with presence never looks around the room anxiously seeking approval. He's not trying to impress anyone. He simply exists in his own power, and that's enough. A woman will notice this before you even open your mouth. She'll feel the weight of your energy, the calm confidence in your demeanor. She don't even know why. She's intrigued. But something about you feels different, and different is always attractive. It's not just women. Other men pick up on it too. They either respect you or feel threatened by you. A man with unshakable presence doesn't need to prove himself, and that unsettles those who are insecure. They might try to challenge you, test you, or undermine you just to see if you'll crack, but you won't, because a man with true presence is unshakable. What separates a man with presence from everyone else is that he's grounded. He's not reactive. He doesn't jump at every little thing, doesn't flinch under pressure, doesn't let the world dictate how he feels. He controls himself. He chooses his words carefully. He listens more than he speaks. And when he does speak, he speaks with conviction. He doesn't mumble, doesn't stutter, doesn't sound uncertain. Every word carries weight because he believes in what he's saying. That's why when he talks, people listen. But here's the secret. This kind of presence isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop. It's built through discipline, self-awareness, and intentional effort. The more you work on your confidence, the more you improve your posture, the more you control your emotions, the stronger your presence becomes. And once you have it, you don't even need to announce it. People will feel it the moment you walk into the room. People always want what they can't fully understand. That's the power of mystery. And if you're the kind of man who doesn't reveal everything about himself, who keeps people guessing, you become unforgettable. See, the average man lays everything on the table too soon. He talks too much, gives away too much, and leaves nothing to the imagination. He tries to impress people by spilling every detail of his life, thinking that will make him more likable. But what he doesn't realize is mystery is a magnet. And when you're unpredictable, when people don't quite know what you'll do next, they're drawn to you like a puzzle they just have to solve. Think about it. Who's more interesting? The man who constantly posts his every move, shares his thoughts without filter, and tells his entire life story to anyone who will listen? Or the man who moves in silence, speaks only when necessary, and keeps people wondering what's on his mind? Where's he going next? What's he really about? That's the man people can't ignore. That's the man who captivates attention without even trying. Women feel it the most when a man doesn't chase, doesn't over-explain himself, doesn't always make himself available. A woman's curiosity skyrockets. She wants to know more. She wants to figure him out. She starts thinking about him even when he's not around. Because here's the truth. What's easily available is rarely valued, but what's just out of reach, that's what keeps people coming back. And this isn't about playing games. It's not about acting distant just to get a reaction. It's about being a man with depth, a man who has his own life, his own priorities, his own world that no one can fully enter unless he allows them to. A man who is selective with his words, his time, his energy. That kind of man isn't just attractive, he's powerful. And it's not just about women. This works in all areas of life. If people can predict your every move, they stop paying attention. But when you're unexpected, when you don't always react the way they assume you will, when you move differently than the crowd, they can't help but watch. See, an unpredictable man is dangerous in the best way. It's not reckless, but it's not easy to figure out either. He can be calm one moment and decisive the next. He can walk away from what doesn't serve him without hesitation. He doesn't make himself too familiar because he knows that familiarity breeds complacency, and a man who is too predictable becomes just another face in the crowd. But you're different. You carry an aura that makes people wonder, what's his next move? You don't reveal your whole story in one conversation. You don't share every thought that crosses your mind. You let your actions speak louder than your words. And that silence, that control, that presence, it creates an air of mystery so strong that people feel it before they even realize it. Because a man with mystery, he's never forgotten. Respect, every man wants it, but not every man knows how to get it. And that's the difference between a regular guy and a highly attractive man. The average man demands respect. He raises his voice, tries to act dominant, forces people to acknowledge him. But a truly attractive man, he never has to ask for it. It just happens. Why? Because respect isn't something you can take, it's something you earn. And you earn it by the way you carry yourself, the way you move, the way you handle situations. A man who truly commands respect doesn't need to prove himself. His presence, his actions, and his discipline do all the talking for him. You see, there's a certain energy about a man who knows his worth. He's not easily swayed by opinions. He doesn't change his stance just because someone challenges him. He doesn't beg for validation or try to fit in. He stands firm in who he is. And that kind of self-assurance, that's rare. That's powerful. That's attractive. Most men try too hard. They want to be liked so badly that they end up losing respect. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny. They agree with things they don't believe in. They let people talk down to them because they're afraid of confrontation. But let me tell you something. A man who allows himself to be disrespected will never be truly attractive. A woman won't be drawn to a man she can walk all over. Other men won't respect a man who doesn't respect himself. Now let's be clear. Commanding respect doesn't mean being aggressive. It doesn't mean getting in people's faces, acting tough, or proving how strong you are. It means setting boundaries and actually enforcing them. It means speaking with authority, not volume. It means being calm under pressure, staying composed when others panic. A man who keeps his cool is always in control. And people notice that. A woman notices when a man doesn't let emotions control him. She notices when he doesn't get rattled by small things, when he doesn't react like every other guy. She notices when he holds himself to a higher standard, when he doesn't let disrespect slide, but also doesn't act out of insecurity. That's the kind of man she trusts. That's the kind of man she's drawn to. Other men notice it too. They may not always say it, but they can feel it. When a man walks with quiet confidence, when he speaks only when necessary, when he moves with a purpose, he's a force to be reckoned with. He doesn't need to demand respect because it's already there. It's in his posture, in his eyes, in the way he carries himself. And when he does speak, people listen because his words carry weight. And that's the difference between a man who chases validation and a man who commands respect. One is constantly trying to prove himself, the other doesn't have to. And that's what makes him truly attractive. There's something different about a man who knows where he's going. You can see it in his eyes, in the way he moves, in the way he speaks. A man with purpose doesn't wander, he walks with intention. He doesn't hesitate, he knows what he's after, and that's powerful. That's magnetic. That's attractive. Most men drift through life with no direction. They wake up every day going through the motions, just existing. But an attractive man, he's not just existing, he's building. He has a goal, a mission, something bigger than himself that keeps him moving forward. He's not easily distracted, not easily shaken, because he knows exactly what he's working toward. And let me tell you something. Women can feel that. People can see that. There's an energy about a man who has a purpose, an unshakable confidence that comes from knowing he's in control of his life. He doesn't wait for opportunities, he creates them. He doesn't waste time chasing approval, he's too busy chasing his vision. And because of that, people want to be around him. A man with purpose is dangerous, not because he's reckless, but because he can't be controlled. He's not easily influenced. He's not desperate for attention, not seeking validation, because he doesn't need it. His purpose fuels him. His vision drives him. And when a man moves with that kind of focus, he becomes unstoppable. Now understand this. Having a purpose doesn't mean you have all the answers. It doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It means you're committed to growth. It means you're always leveling up, always pushing forward, always improving, because a man with no purpose, he's stagnant, he's stuck. And nothing is less attractive than wasted potential. You see, when a man has no direction, he clings to people. He clings to relationships. He clings to anything that gives him a sense of worth. But a man with purpose, he doesn't cling, he leads. He's not afraid to walk alone because he knows his mission is more important than temporary comfort. And that kind of discipline, that kind of mindset, it's rare. It's powerful, it's attractive. Women don't just want a man who looks good, they want a man who knows where he's going. A man who isn't waiting for life to happen to him, but who makes things happen. A man who can inspire, who can lead, who can turn a vision into reality. Because a man like that, he's unforgettable. And let's be real, not everyone will understand your purpose. Not everyone will support your journey. But that doesn't matter. Because when you have a purpose that fuels you, you don't need permission to be great. You don't wait for the world to believe in you. You believe in yourself first. And that belief, that drive, that fire inside you, that's what makes you truly attractive. There's something about a man who doesn't put everything on display. Something about a man who doesn't reveal all his thoughts, his emotions, his next move. That kind of man, he's magnetic, he's intriguing, he's unpredictable. And that so it makes him dangerously attractive. Most men are too easy to read. You know exactly what they're thinking, exactly what they want, exactly how they'll react. They wear their emotions on their sleeves, they overshare, they make it too easy, and because of that, they lose their power. Because let's be real, people don't value what's easily accessible. Women don't chase after a man who lays everything out on the table, but a man who keeps a little mystery. A man who doesn't reveal too much too soon. He creates curiosity. He makes people want to know more. And that's what keeps them hooked. Think about it. When was the last time you were drawn to someone who was an open book? Probably never. But when someone is unpredictable, when they keep you guessing, that's when they become unforgivable. That's when they live rent-free in your mind. That's when they make an impact. Now, don't get it twisted. Being mysterious doesn't mean being distant or cold. It doesn't mean you never express yourself. It means you control what you reveal. It means you don't rush to explain yourself. You don't beg for attention. You don't hand out your thoughts and emotions like candy. You let people earn access to you. And let me tell you something, a woman values what she has to work for. If you give away all your thoughts, your feelings, your plans up front, there's nothing left for her to discover, nothing left to wonder about. And the moment curiosity dies, attraction fades. But when you move with quiet confidence, when you answer questions without revealing too much, when you let your actions do most of the talking, she stays intrigued. And it's not just women, this applies to life in general. People respect a man who doesn't always need to explain himself. A man who moves in silence, who works behind the scenes, who lets his results speak louder than his words. You don't see the most powerful men in the world broadcasting their every move. You don't see the most respected leaders constantly trying to prove themselves, because true power is silent, true strength is subtle. A highly attractive man doesn't seek validation. He doesn't rush to fill silence with meaningless words. He lets people wonder. He lets people ask questions. He understands that mystery creates value. And that's the secret right there. The less they know, the more they want to know. The harder you are to read, the more they try to figure you out. The moment you stop being predictable, you become unforgettable, and that's what makes you truly attractive. See, most men think respect comes from talking louder, acting tougher, or forcing people to acknowledge them, but real power, real presence, it comes from something deeper. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way you walk into a room and people just feel your presence. That's what separates an ordinary man from an extraordinary one. A highly attractive man doesn't seek approval. He knows who he is. He doesn't need to prove himself to anyone. He doesn't waste time arguing over small things or trying to impress people who don't matter. He moves with a quiet confidence that makes people take notice. And let me tell you something. People can sense when a man respects himself. They can see it in his posture, hear it in his tone, feel it in the way he speaks. A man who respects himself doesn't tolerate nonsense. He doesn't let people walk all over him. He sets boundaries and he enforces them. Not with aggression, not with arrogance, but with absolute certainty. You ever notice how some men never have to raise their voice to be heard? How they can say less, yet somehow their words carry more weight? That's power. That's the kind of presence that demands respect without needing to ask for it. Because when you truly respect yourself, the world has no choice but to follow suit. But here's the key. You can't fake it. You can't pretend to be this kind of man. It has to come from within. It has to be real. That means you keep your word. That means you hold yourself to a higher standard. That means you don't let the world shake your foundation. You stand firm. And the moment you do, people treat you differently. Women look at you differently. They see a man who won't bend for the sake of approval, who won't shrink himself just to fit in. A man like that, he's rare, he's respected, he's attractive, because at the end of the day, respect is the foundation of attraction. And when you command it, when you don't chase it, don't beg for it, don't fight for it, but simply embody it, that's when you become truly unstoppable. Let me tell you something. Being a highly attractive man isn't about looks, money, or status. It's about how you carry yourself, how you move through life, and the energy you bring into every room. It's in your confidence, your mystery, your purpose. It's in the way you respect yourself and command respect from others without ever having to demand it. It's in your ability to walk away, to stay focused, to never let the world shake you. Because here's the truth. Attraction isn't just about what people see. It's about what they feel when they're around you. And when you embody these traits, when you live with purpose, when you know your worth, you don't just attract people, you inspire them. So don't chase, don't beg, don't try to prove yourself. Just become the kind of man who naturally draws people in, the kind of man who moves differently, speaks differently, lives differently. Because when you do that, you won't have to look for respect, admiration, or attraction. It will come looking for you.